I'm Tripta Sanju Daryanani from 11 Hampshire, and today I'll be talking about, is social media a good platform to disperse information in the time of crisis? My thesis statement is, this research will analyze whether YouTube videos as a widely used social media platform are a reliable source to disperse information during the Hong Kong protests. I'll be discussing the methodology, discussion, analyzing, and conclusion. Hong Kong protests. As shown, a lot of people had joined it, including students, protesters, foreigners, and corporation workers. It started on 15th March 2019. It is still ongoing but has reduced because of the COVID-19. 7,800 plus protesters were arrested and 2 people were dead in the government records. There were 5 demands of the protesters. One of them was the full withdrawal of the extradition bill, which was the reason of the Hong Kong protests. One of the reasons. The major events were the Hong Kong Way human chain, which was similar to the Baltic Way 30 years ago. There were airport strikes that were really dangerous, also MTR vandalism, such as the Young Long attack. There were also shopping mall riots that was recent. My methodology was to understand the background of Hong Kong protests, interview people from Hong Kong who are against and in support of the protests to get 2 different views. I identified social media platforms to use in the crisis. And also I referred to published articles by the news providers like CNN, China Morning Post, and others. Then I decided that YouTube videos should be analyzed, referring to hashtags, comments, and number of likes, dislikes, received, and views. I examined the trends of the audio descriptions and captions used in the videos by reporters and other people, reactors, and people who were in the protests. I will be discussing the use of YouTube as a social media platform to disperse the information during this Hong Kong crisis. The forms of social media I found in my evidence. There were Telegram, which was used to find the schedules and the meetings in the Hong Kong protests. Fire chat, a way to find restricted situations and information that was banned from China. WhatsApp, Facebook, these were used for messages and posts to find out more about the Hong Kong protests globally. YouTube was also one of them to be using videos. I'll be analyzing YouTube videos. I have 3 YouTube videos that I've analyzed. The first is from Vox, which is a documentary video which was explaining how the Hong Kong protests work. It was really informative, and as you can see, there was a lot of views, 7 million views. Vox is known to give informative information, as it really, this 9-minute video had described properly what was the Hong Kong protests. The comments were in support of the Hong Kong protests and how their actions had led to this. The next one is the live video that was really emphasized about how the riots police clash. The comments had told that the title was really misleading, and it was not that, it was something like fake news or fake titles. It is from NBC News, which is known to also exaggerate and emphasize it. The next video is a Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam withdraws extradition law from the South China Morning Post, which is owned by a Chinese company. This was really a biased thing, as it was not, as the comments may have referred to not in support of Carrie Lam, but the video was really an announcement about the extradition bill. There were a mixture of likes and dislikes, some in support and some in not. The subscriptions also were increased. Discussion of how social media was used. Coordination. It was used in how to schedule your way around for the people who are not involved in the protesters, to mobilize the protesters easily and inform them of how the schedules of the protests work. Engagement, to make them know about the likes and dislikes, a discussion through the comments of the YouTube videos to discuss, even though it was virtually, and find out about opinions even though they were not there. It was a way of awareness of globally how people were aware and to support this independent-led political movement. It also involved to get a global community and share the support together. This social media was also to get the latest updates on the situation. It heightened also awareness of the cyber security for the people who didn't participate and increased their understanding of how effective this communication method was. Discussing the use of YouTube in Hong Kong protests. Protests included live chats broadcast that were a way of showing a virtual situation of the protests. It was a way to show the number of likes, the shares, the comments received on these videos, on these discussion pathway to find out more about what people think about it. It was a way of also finding out the interviews of people what actually thought and reacted to the situation. What were the reasons for them to join the protest, or even about the situation, an interview about that. These intriguing titles, which may have been misleading for the videos that published, were a good way to get attention. It was an eye-catching thing. And to build a consistency to the effective use of trending hashtags, for example, hashtag Fight for Hong Kong, hashtag Hong Kong protests. This does increase a lot of published articles as it was alongside the videos. It gave a written form and also a virtual situation of how it was really. These videos also, it was a good way to invite people and gather more support during the protest. It was a way of broadcasting consequences of using the protest people, the police using uses of tear gas, road closures, and MTR attacks. Also, it ensured the effective anticipation through providing updates on the dates and the timings, as it was mentioned. Analyzing the protest factually through producing a combination of short and long documentaries like Vox, which was really informative. This is an example of how YouTube could have helped to disperse information. It's about the human long chain, and it is a time lapse of what actually the situation was. What did people think, and how were people dressed, using torchlights, using umbrellas, or using the banners that said about Hong Kong and about the protests.
We're just fighting for something that we should have, which is one country, two system.
The chain went on for 40 kilometers. Along the way, people held up the flags of friendly nations to say thank you.
The conclusion is that YouTube does help to disperse information in this time of crisis. Hong Kong people were really aware through YouTube videos. People could have discussed about the Hong Kong protests through YouTube. YouTube indeed was a good way of helping. It may have considered of fake news, but it was at the end a really reliable source and accurate information that it provided. These are my citations for the videos as I analyzed, and also the published articles like CNN, BBC, and South China Morning Post. Thank you very much.